It's bad, but
You can't see that.
okay.
You can see that. They can't see that.
Okay. Hello and welcome to SoulWhat. I'm Michelle Welch, your oh so serious one who is working on not caring so much what you think.
Work in progress. And I'm Roger Welch, the not so serious one. Don't give a damn what you think. So, what's up today, Michelle?
How are you feeling?
Crappy.
Aw.
I think it says cedar, Texas cedar, and all the dust from all the moving boxes.
Well, we have a lot to be grateful for because we know people in Australia and other places are going through a lot of stuff, but we will say Texas weather has been a little crazy lately. It
Yes.
snowed one day and then it was
It
like
was
80
70 degrees.
70 degrees the next.
Snowed, and 2 days later, back to 70 degrees.
Yeah, so kind of crazy. So
Yeah.
we're here tonight, and what we decided to do, you guys, we are a little bit late because we're tweaking the studio. We're trying to, and when anytime you try to improve something, sometimes you go through
Yes.
some changes. We've changed our set, as you noticed. We talked about it last week. So we're apologizing that we're a little bit late. I also had readings right up till basically time to go on.
And I had to work today, too.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys. Looking the set's looking better. I'm like, Roger, this needs to be moved up.
When you
but
see
it
the
will
video,
be.
playback video, you're going like,
I know.
Okay.
Hasn't he done a great job, though, of redoing our set so that we can have other shows in here also with your own logo, right?
Yes, sir.
So tonight we decided to, we have guests on a lot. We have people join us on the panel a lot. And tonight we were like, first of all, I thought it was Monday all day. He said, what are we going to do for the show? And I go, it's Monday.
She was arguing with me
Roger,
that it was
and I was
Monday.
arguing all day. And I made all my
not
appointments and
Monday.
everything, but I just did it as though it was Monday. And many of you know I've been kind of hibernating to finish my book and first draft, and
then you found out it's Tuesday.
and found out what that.
Today's Tuesday.
Well, but yesterday it was due, so and it got turned in on time and to Llewellyn.
Mm-hmm.
So, 54,000 pages turned
Words.
in. Words, not pages. Oh my God.
That'll be a big
War
book.
and Peace. Got turned into Llewellyn Publishing, so I'm excited about that.
Yep.
And it's in the hands of them now. So we decided to do a show on what on questions that people ask us frequently. We were also just going to, if you guys have a question, we have a couple that have already been sent in to us that Carrie's going to read to us, I think. But we also, if you are on, anybody, if they're streaming, if it's streaming live, if you're on live, if you have a question, it's not really, we will do readings at the end, but it's more like, what about this? What's the best crystal for this? Or how did you get into this, Michelle or Roger, or just anything like that? So a question of us, or a question about stuff at the store. How did we come up with the beads? What's the difference between this kind of witch and this kind of witch? Just any question you have, we'll see what we've got for you. Cards, anything. So we're just an opportunity to throw us questions at us.
But
I'm
we're
rambling.
also doing Spin the Wheel.
Oh, so we're doing the spin the wheel, and we're
Which
going to do
is
that
what we're
first.
doing is we're just scrolling through Facebook, and wherever it lands, we're going to
But we're going to get to you guys' questions too.
So you better hope you're
so
posting nice stuff.
So post some. So we're going to creep on Facebook. I thought you were going to do a group,
Group? No.
like go to Grey Witches or something. Kate's group.
No, you didn't tell me that, but I wanted to do this real quick. Hang on.
Oh, so I don't know what he's doing.
I'm adjusting the camera because
So Roger's just we must not look right. So
You look good. He just a little cut off.
I'm like, yeah, it shows like just a little bit of me.
told you guys we're tweaking, but we will have perfection.
That's tweaking,
We're back
not
straight.
twigging.
So when I was writing, Erica, shout out to you. So did you guys know there's a difference between these wriggle your toes, like when you come back into a meditation? It's actually technically, if you want to move your hands like this, that's called wriggle, like a W-R, as opposed to wiggle your hands and fingers. Did y'all know that?
I'm going with
So-
a no. I did not know this.
I looked it up, and Erica was actually right. She's really good at catching stuff like that. So wriggle versus wriggle versus wiggle. There is a difference. So
Wiggle, wiggle.
from now on in meditations, we're going to start laughing when I say, bring yourself back into the room and wriggle your hands and fingers.
I'm gonna get that song where it goes wiggle, 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 and almost play it every time you
Wriggle,
do it.
wriggle, wriggle.
Wiggle, 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 wiggle.
Okay, so what's our first thing we're going to do?
You tell me.
Okay, so let's look at
Do
Carrie's.
we have
Carrie, you on Facebook?
questions?
So
Is
we
Carrie
can
on?
start with Rob's question.
Okay, so we got one. But
So-
then we'll spin to a
Yeah.
Facebook. Okay, so Rob had a question, and it was...
So when you're on a spiritual journey, how do you get started if you're not sure where to start?
Okay, so I can take a crack at that one. So I would say it depends on, but if it's a metaphysical type of spiritual journey, and that's what you're talking about, which I think that's what the question probably was, like where do you start as far as, should you, it's kind of overwhelming when you walk in Soultopia, do you go to the crystals? Do you go to the cards? Do you go to the candles? Bracelet, jewelry, what do you work with when you're new on your journey? Is it meditation? So I'd say, honestly, the best answer is what you're drawn to. So like if you like to read, then, which I do, 5 books a week, forever, I would say read. If you don't like to read, and if you read some, that'll go, this isn't interesting to me at all, so this isn't what I'm drawn to. I actually have a deck of cards called divination cards. They're oracle cards, and they go there's like probably 40 some odd oracle cards in there. We used to sell them a lot, and you pull, like you might be drawn to reading clouds, you might be drawn to candles. So I think it's more what you're drawn to. But if you don't know, like, so then what I would say is I would first start with 5 minutes a day of meditation, at least in the morning and at night, just 5 minutes.
Well,
Because-
I always tell people, shorter to start with, because if you try to go out and find, like, say, a 15 or 20-minute meditation, you'll go crazy. You won't be able to finish it because you haven't built up to that yet. It's kind of like running a marathon. It's like, I'm gonna go run a marathon today and go and run a marathon. You haven't built up to that yet. So I always tell people, 3 to 5 minutes, build up to it. About maybe a month. Double it.
It does make a difference, and that way you can then start getting in touch with your guides and things like that. And so I would start with that probably, and also just whatever you're interested in. If you're drawn to cards, fine. If you think, oh no, it's something I was raised you shouldn't do, your thought will change as you learn the history probably. But maybe start with something else. Start with crystals or something like that. So I think getting overwhelmed is the biggest problem, though, for some people, because they think they have to use all the tools, and you really don't. You could start just as simply as, and especially getting in touch with your intuition, which I think is really important. Just being still sometimes is the best way to do that. So meditation is probably the best way. And then just ask during your meditation, what would be good for me, as far as starting on my journey.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people too. Find what you're drawn to, what visit crystals or even the jewelry that we have.
Candles. Or,
what are you interested in?
Because we do get the question a lot, where do I start? And I think it has to be with something you feel comfortable with is the biggest thing. Because maybe you're coming from a belief system, for lack of a better word, and maybe you feel more comfortable with one thing than another thing.
So you want to hear a funny story?
Sure.
Happened to me today at work. I
What?
didn't get to tell you yet. So I got, that work today, they switched all the cell phones over to the new
Right.
cell phone. So we were all there, a bunch of us were there standing in line, and then one of the guys from over Fort Worth, he was asking me the stuff that was coming up, and I was telling him that, we're going to Tucson. Of course, he wants to go to Tucson too, but then I told him I got picked to speak in, New York.
Shout out, Roger's doing a study group at the Reader Studio in New York City, and y'all, that's a big honor.
Yeah.
It's a very big honor.
Yeah, so, and like the table, it was like a kind of a table like this, and there was 4 people, 2 people from the cell phone company and 2 of our people that handle all that cell phone stuff. Well, they heard us talking about it, and then the one, she was there also with us. And so he's like, do you have any tarot tattoos? I'm like, not yet, but I'm getting one,
I did
And
know
then
he was getting one.
I thought you were going with me.
I'm going to get a Soultopia in the crystal ball with the crystals in
Well,
it.
I'll get
so-
that too then.
Okay.
Okay, but anyway, one of the girls that works with us, she's like, you read cards? I'm like, yeah.
Just a little bit.
I'm shocked you, because at
They
work.
didn't know that yet?
Well, it's kind of common knowledge at work. Everybody knows, but this one didn't know. And then the other one's like, I put all my trust in God, in my beliefs. I'm like, oh, bullshit, because you're the first one to call me and ask me a question and say, what's your intuition get on this?
But that didn't mean that she's not also putting her trust in God.
Oh, she does, but she's also putting it out there how bad it was.
Well,
I
leads me to a
see.
question.
Okay.
So a lot of the time I get asked, because a lot of people, their family have religious beliefs.
Right.
So they're
Mine too.
into spirituality, but they don't know how to integrate into it because they don't want to stray from their beliefs, but they're into this. So how do we dispel the fear of being religious and what you've been taught in religion with spirituality?
So I'm the perfect person to ask that question because my whole family and me, or my grandfather was an Assembly of God minister. My dad has been an elder in his church forever, started a church, in my hometown, Longview, Texas. We have many missionaries in our family. So on both sides of my family, in Germany, my family, they were Lutheran ministers. So I'm the perfect one to ask. I would say, don't do anything you don't feel comfortable doing. Don't feel like you have to. I mean, if you're wanting, and Carrie, if I understood your question, so you've already made the decision that you want to, but how do you feel more comfortable with it? I don't believe they have to be separate. So some people will think it has to be separate, and that's their choice. But I have now, I believed in for instance, the Bible. My whole life have believed in the inerrancy of Scripture. In other words, it was straight from God, given from God, written down, and perfect. Okay, so I don't believe that anymore, but that doesn't make me not a woman of faith and of my faith that I was raised in. It's just that I see it differently. Does that help some? And I would say, and I do have clients who come in, and their community is their church. I mean, they are in the choir. They love, and I do miss music, okay, because I don't go to church, and I miss worship and music and singing. And they want both. So I say you do what you're comfortable with. I don't believe ever in trying to convert anybody into what I believe. So take it a step at a time. With what you feel comfortable with. And I don't feel that right away you have to go try to tell everybody in your family. It's not like you're living a lie. It's just something you're seeing. Is this interesting to me? So not everybody has to know all of your business all the time. They don't have to know that. So if you don't want to post stuff on and we have plenty of people that we don't put their picture on social media. And it's not because they're living a lie. It's just they're not ready to tell people that yet. And that's okay. But for me, it doesn't have to be separate and apart, although I will tell you, some people will judge you as though it is separate and apart, and that's, to me, I've learned that's their issue, okay? But I'm not going to try to convert them into what I believe, okay?
Sounds good.
Do you want to look at somebody's Facebook? And let's do a group.
Do a group?
Yeah, go to let's go to Kate Cross. Okay, you got one?
We have one from Carol.
Okay, from Carol.
Carla, I'm sorry.
Carla. Hi, Carla.
She said, I'm interested in where you currently see each of your paths going over the long term, say 5 years. Okay.
Thanks, Carla. This is going to sound corny, but I've really thought about this lately because, I'm not getting any younger. So I thought, what am I doing here? What are we doing? I want to help people. So I believe everything we do is healing. And I didn't refer to that earlier when Rob had the question. I didn't refer to the healing aspect. I believe if you're reading cards, if you're looking at crystals, I believe it's all for healing and evolving us in whatever way that might be, and leaving somebody better off than we found them. And so for me, I see that being my path. Whatever way I can leave people a little bit better off than I found them, if you know what I mean by that saying. If that includes more of the healing aspect through cards or through more healing, like somebody literally on a table, which by the way, they don't have to be that's a massage. That doesn't have to be, you don't have to be on a table to get any type of healing. But I see it to be specific. I see myself writing more books, and I see our store growing. I see Soultopia going into other cities for sure. What about you, Roger?
That's what I think is going to happen.
So I don't know if that answered it, but always, Carla, I've just done a lot of soul searching because this job is harder, more emotionally taxing and harder than being a lawyer ever was. And so I asked myself, is it worth it? Is this worth it? And it's only worth it to me. Yes, we do run a business, but it's only worth it to me if I'm making a difference in people's lives. And we have new people walking in the doors of Soultopia literally every single day. So I do know we're making a difference.
Yep.
Yeah. So that'd be my question, my answer. I hope I answered it. Where I see myself in 5 years, just regarding my spiritual journey, that's what I would say. I do have a lot of things I want to write about, and I would really like to see Stellar Gateway Healing get out to more people because I believe it helps a lot of people.
Well, you knocked that book out in 2 months, so.
Yeah, that book. Well, it was a working. It was so interesting that so many things that I was putting in the book, I realized I had in journals and I'd written in about 7, 10 years, so long ago. So many of the things, and I just was scared to question what everybody else said was the way to do something. To do it in a book, and it is scary because the book will challenge some old paradigms. But
We got a question from Kelly.
okay, hi Kelly.
It says, I'm often asked about my Soultopia bracelets and what they mean. Can you go deeper on how they are designed?
Yes.
And about the crystals.
Yes. Do you want to start, or do you? So here I've got on Carrie's tonight because I went and got my nails done and I took on mine off. So thank you, Carrie. They they feel really good. Carrie's energy is great. So, do you want me to start,
Sure.
or do you want to?
Okay, so
Okay. So are we both on?
when we first started, believe it or not, we made all the bracelets in the bedroom watching TV. We sat there.
Sitting on the floor.
Sitting on the floor, watching TV, and we'd sit there in an evening and make probably 40 or 50 bracelets in an evening.
It was truly, the crystals were soothing to me. I was leaving law, and I was high strung, still can be, but or depressed, and the crystals would soothe me and help me. I remember chrysoprase in particular would helped me through my divorce. I was married for like 26 years and 3 kids, and so that's not easy. So the process that we did was, in a nutshell, is the reason I think our bracelets, even though there were bracelets everywhere else that are much like ours, the reason is the love that went into them. It was love. Roger and I put a lot of love into every bracelet we made. We also we channel. It's channeling plus knowledge. Just logic, knowledge that we have of crystals. So, like, say when we designed let's say the death card, our tarot line, literally, it's like, what does this card mean? And then we would put crystals on it to go with that, the meaning of the death card.
The energy behind it.
The energy behind it. So that's like transformation. So all the crystals would have something to do with that. Oftentimes it will be people, is it aesthetically pleasing? And it was interesting. There were only a couple that turned out to be not so aesthetically pleasing.
The cooler thing was the fact that when we did that, the actual colors of the crystals that ended up in the bracelet kind of matched out the card too.
The traditional Rider-Waite card, our original tarot bracelets, we didn't even have them out. We channeled what crystals should go on it, on the card, on the bracelet for the particular card. We've only done the major arcana. We're about to come out with the aces, all the aces, by the way. They're going to be really cool. I'm channeling those right now. But Roger and I channeled those tarot bracelets together, and when you put it on, like if I could show you guys an original Rider-Waite and like the Hermit, if you put it on there, it's like it blends, it goes. And that was not on purpose. It just did. So it was really cool. And so then we went into other bracelets.
We did the Archangel.
The Archangel bracelets. They were first, actually.
They were
got an award for that. And they were first, and they were real blingy at first. They had a lot of pave and a lot of blingies, but then people wanted the more natural because they wanted it just to be stones. So, you never know.
I think I want to make some of the old hippie bracelets we used to do.
Yeah, we made cool hippie bracelets. Those are hard to make because they have a lot of stuff on them. But so to answer the question quickly again, is the biggest thing I want to know is a lot of people will go, they're Reiki charged. Okay, great. But we clear all our crystals. And when you buy them, we clear them in the singing bowl. But
we use selenite. When we make them, we set them on the selenite.
Selenite, we make them. So, I believe your energy, you can, everybody has Reiki energy. By the way, we're doing attunements coming up. But even if you don't have it, you have Reiki healing in you. So I'm not making fun of people who say, oh, it's Reiki charged. But I'm just saying, I think that you also should do research into the crystals. You channel and you and combined with research. And I believe that with everything. I don't throw away the logic and the knowledge I've been given.
For those who don't know, can you explain like crystals and like what they do? Because everybody comes in there and they're like, do these gemstones actually work? So how do they?
Okay, so I have a whole class on that, but the main way it works is that crystals are, and that includes beads, okay, which are forms of crystals, gemstones. Gemstones is just a higher quality of a crystal. It's like a raw tumble crystal. There'd be raw, there's tumble, blah, 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 right? All the different forms. But the reason they work with us is we have what's called chaos, or entropy is the fancy word. So we are like this. We have ups and downs. Some of us more than others, right?
Yep.
Crystals do not. They have a fixed internal structure that never changes. Even if you break it in half, each half of the crystal is still going to have that internal structure. And so they do not, they have a fixed, what's called a fixed dominant oscillatory rate. It does not vary. And so we entrain to a crystal. So if I, if I am feeling low, let's say, and I maybe anxiety, well, lepidolite has natural lithium in it, and it has a fixed internal structure. It's not going to change. It's not going to be all over the place. What the properties it have are the properties I'm going to entrain to. So just like if you walk into a room and there's 3 of us in here and we're pretty calm tonight, and if somebody really mad walked in, we might entrain to that. Do you see what I'm saying? But the crystals are fixed, so we entrain to those properties, and it does work. And shungite is proven. They have what's called fullerenes, and it's scientifically proven. So there is science behind the crystal mojo. That's in a nutshell. I teach it in my certification class, and believe me, we get sciencey in there.
Mine's a little bit more of a nutshell explanation because people come in and ask me, especially when we're at shows, because it's so busy at shows.
It's hard for me because
I'm like, all right, so you vibrate, and when you're upset or something, you might be vibrating like this. But the crystal's always going to be smooth.
That's
and
a good
because
answer.
that way, if he's vibrating like this, and then the crystal's going to basically calm you down and bring you together, and your vibration will match the vibration of the crystal that you carry around with.
Better explanation.
Now, buy 5
Very
of them.
easy. Yeah, well, and if moldavite's going up here, and you want to ascend, then moldavite's going to feel a higher vibration. So it's not always calming.
Right. You got to match what you're trying to accomplish with the crystal.
With the crystal and its properties.
And typically what I tell people on that is you also want to kind of see what you're drawn to, because it seems like people are drawn to certain colors and looks of the crystal. And it's amazing. That's the crystal they should be working with.
I'm going to I still want to do a study on that, because it's interesting that essential oils are different. Sometimes the essential oil you need is the one you're not drawn to. So I want to do a study on crystals and see sometimes if maybe we need the one we're not drawn to.
Yeah.
But mostly it's the one you're drawn to. And I know people that they just pick them based on which one's pretty, because they are. So, but they have the minerals. I like studying, as opposed to all the books that are out there that say the same thing because they all plagiarize each other. I like studying, where they came from, how they were named, what the internal structure is. There's different, so many groupings of internal structures that actually have different meanings. If they're cubic, that's square, they're going to be more stabilizing. So those, if you get a pyrite, it's more of a stable structure. If you get an amorphous crystal, which really most of them aren't really crystals because they're not minerals, but like if, let's say you got an obsidian, which is actually glass, then that can be more chaotic and can stir things up a little more because it has an amorphous internal structure.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, do you want to go to? We were going to spin through Facebook too, unless you have something.
Oh,
Okay.
Here we go. I just went over to the Gray Witches, and I scrolled down, and I found this.
Kate Carrasco.
Yeah, Kate. So anyway, I don't know this girl. Her name's Hannah on here, but it says I was going to get moon water for tomorrow, but I understand the lunar eclipse. This was actually last week during the lunar eclipse. The lunar eclipse will create chaos and bad energy in water. Is this true?
Okay.
So what do you think?
So read it again to me. She was going to do it, but she thought the lunar eclipse would cause chaos and bad.
The lunar eclipse will create chaos and bad energy in the water.
Okay, so I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't lead from fear. So I disagree with that statement. If that is what somebody thinks, then I think that's what will happen. Now, for people who are more really particular about times of, I think that could be said if you put it out in a full moon too. But we put water out you're told to put stuff out in the full moon all the time, but
Yeah.
full moon causes chaos sometimes. Okay,
Well,
so
I think you also
depends.
have stormwater, where you collect the stormwater, and that
What
could,
element
and
are you
that's-
trying to connect to?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was actually somebody posted on here. As I was scrolling, it says, it clearly depends on the witch. So it's all in what the witch is putting into it.
It's intention.
Yeah, it's all about intentions. It's exactly what it is.
Now, I'm not as rigid on the rules as I used to be because I came from a rigid structure of rules. No offense to that upbringing, but I did. Okay, and so I'm not as rigid. So when somebody tells me you can't do this because it's going to do something bad, I'm usually thinking, really? Because I've already decided it's bad, so that's why it's going to do something bad. And who labels bad or good anyway,
Me.
or negative or positive?
Oh,
Yeah,
not me.
So, but if you believe that, then yeah. Certain people believe you have to do certain spells on certain days and that they'll be more powerful. And if you believe that and that's your intention, then I believe that too. But for me, if I had to do it on certain days every single time, I would be waiting forever because clearly I thought today was Monday and it's really Tuesday. So I'd get it messed up.
So there's a few people that will come in the store and they want to learn about like tarot and channeling and things like that, but they're nervous that like evil entities or things like that are going to affect them, and they don't know if they can like do it because they don't want that to come in contact. How do you feel about that, or how do you dispel
Okay.
evil entities and what they believe is evil?
Okay. So you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So for me, this is a very interesting question because I do believe there's duality. Okay? I do believe in duality where there's, but I believe that where there's light, there's also dark because that's duality. So it's a scale. So I think a lot of it is how you label it. So to answer, it's a deep question. A lot of that fear about tarot cards, I can tell you, comes from the fact that I know exactly where in the Bible it talks about it, if they're coming from a spiritual perspective. And I say exactly, it's in Exodus, or is it Deuteronomy? I used to know exactly because I'd read it to my kids and tell them how bad it was. Clearly, I don't agree with that anymore. I don't think they are not. Okay, this is somebody has created a deck. They've drawn it. They've worked hard on it. They've gotten a publisher, or they've self-published it. Do they have the power is with the person reading it? I don't believe the power is in the cards. Do I believe there is some universal like unconsciousness or subconsciousness with the collective of maybe what they assign evil to think? Maybe. I just think it's more Hollywood. So you're going to have to ease into it because you're not going to immediately believe me. But I will tell you with tarot cards, they started as tools they weren't even a tool. They were at birthday parties in Italy. That's where they were used. And they were, not everybody can afford them. So they were the rich birthday parties. And so then they became, at some point, they started being used in the occult. And they were a direct way to get a message from you, from God or source to you. And I'm going to be blunt. There was an edict passed down. It was one of the Pope Gregory the something. They didn't like that because they didn't want you. They wanted you to have to go through the intermediary of the church. They didn't want you to be able to go straight to source. So that's where all the "it's so scary and evil" came from.
So man built, man
A
created.
man construct. A man created
created.
construct. Can you conjure up what somebody might call a demon, or somebody else might call a thought form that is not so positive and is a vibration that may not feel comfortable to you? Yes, you can. Okay, but that's your intention. That's your anger. That's your jealousy. That's your whatever you're feeling. That's conjuring that up. It's not the cards doing that. It's you. So, check yourself before you're working with stuff. Like I've told y'all, when I worked with the candle stuff, I threw all kinds of stuff in it. And my friend Marcia told me for a year I couldn't use candles, and I didn't, because I had so much anger when I was going through my divorce. So it was not the candles, it was me. Does that answer the question? Okay.
Hey, I got one for you.
Okay.
Can you turn the overhead camera on? Is this show here?
Upside down.
Let's go this way then. Like this?
Got it.
All right, it says, some moms cuss too much. It's me. I'm some moms. Who do you think posted that?
Jennifer.
Damn, she's good, see?
Our friend Jennifer, we miss her so much in Phoenix. Phoenix is like the youngest psychic I know and most evolved person, like old soul. And Jennifer used to come, and she's a friend to all, in my opinion, and but takes no shit. And she used to make food for our Soultopia Sensations.
Till she moved away.
Till she moved, and we have never had anybody else do it, because who could replace her? Nobody.
Yep.
That I know of, anyway. She was great. So, what else?
What you got over there? Got anything?
So,
Becca's
you want to talk
going
about the giveaway
across
card tonight?
Ooh.
Yeah, you got one? She's saying, ooh.
Okay, so I don't really know how to explain this. Basically, like multidimensional beings. Like some people believe that it's just us here. Other people believe there's aliens and unicorns and all kind of things. Are those like? I guess they're basically trying to say, are those like fantasy and fiction, or are those real life beings? Like, what do you feel as far as that?
Okay, that's a really good question. Here's what I think about it. Let's say, for instance, unicorn, or even some of the mythological beings. Okay, from like Greek mythology, right? Are those gods and goddesses? Are they real? Or are they just made up? I think that depends on each person, how you feel individually. Merlin. Was Merlin real? Was Merlin not? Think of other ones. There's a bunch. I think that there are multidimensional beings. I think we've lived a bunch of lives, and we're living them all parallel at the same time. And like, I was writing on Saint Germain, and Saint Germain was supposedly Merlin. He was also Francis Bacon. I mean, he was lived. Supposedly that was his last life. So I do believe that they are real. If you don't agree with that, then I think what they are is archetypes. They serve as representations, just like the major arcana do in the Tarot, and Carl Jung talked about, and it was even before Carl Jung that they talked about archetypes. I think that a lot of these creatures and beings can serve as archetypes for certain situations in our life. What do you think?
I agree with that.
I mean, like, what other fantasy and aliens? Answer it, because you have a different
aliens are
answer.
here.
I mean,
You had that alien hat the other day, haven't you?
yeah,
I know. I switched today.
he's
Look
got
at my
on
shirt today.
Sasquatch tonight. I mean, so
Sasquatch? Well, Claudia posted the other day that picture of the unicorn and something other. She kept seeing unicorns. So I sent her a picture of a rhinoceros, and I said, "Look, it's just a chubby unicorn."
aw.
But you gotta think about it. I mean, hey,
Well,
if they
here's the
believed in a horn, and that was the first thing you saw was one single horn, that's got to be a unicorn.
And it's how we define things. And so I also think that, who are we to think that it's like the world revolves around us? I think it's a little narcissistic of our race.
But if you
not
go
a race,
back
what are we? Of our,
200
what do we call
years-
it? Of our
Species.
species. Thank you.
Animal.
It's a little narcissistic to think we're the only.
But if you look at that, like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, they didn't know about a lot of the stuff outside of there.
Right.
I mean, even the human eye, up until the Egyptian times, the human eye couldn't even see the color blue.
Interesting. And,
They say we can only
the world was flat.
75% of our brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's things that you cannot visually see that are actually out there because the lenses in your eye can't focus to
Can't
it.
see all the colors that are
You
out
can't
there.
see everything.
So, which is always interesting when you're talking about chakras, because it's like there's so many other colors that we just don't even see. So explain chakras. Okay, so you want to give a short version?
A short version. Okay, so
I liked his crystal version.
you like my crystal?
Yeah.
one? All right, so you have different energy points all through your body. There's 7 major energy points going from your root chakra to your crown chakra. But what's even crazier than that, those 7, there's actually like 88,000 all over your body when we focus on 7.
Yeah, they're like ley lines and
Yeah.
meridians and like what are called nadis or nadis. It's NADIS. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's your root chakra is the first one. And I just do like Roy G. Biv. If y'all learn that to learn the colors of the rainbow, or Roy G. Biv. And so 7's a big
Explain
number.
that.
So red is Roy. So Roy, we'll go through them. Red is your root chakra, and then orange is your sacral chakra, and it's pronounced chakra, but I say chakra. And then you go to Roy. Yellow is your solar plexus, which is like here. And then the traditional color for your heart chakra was green. Now we use pink too. And the chakras are in the middle of your body. So the heart's not over here; it's right here in the middle.
And I've
they
actually
also go
seen
to the
that.
back. So they're like energy vortexes. Like they're some even describe them like the shape of like the horn of plenty, like a cornucopia, or like a spinning wheel. And so you kind of want them to be spinning. I'll go up in that color. Then there's so that's the green is the
Green.
traditional. So Roy G. Biv is blue, I do like a sky blue, and then
Like
is
your
your throat
fingers?
chakra, and then up to your third eye, your brow chakra is indigo. That's the eye. That's a purple blue, and up to violet would be your crown chakra. Anything above it, they're called your transpersonal chakras, which I work with in stellar gateway healings. That where you connect to guides and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the Earth star would be down below your feet. So, and that's for grounding and things like that. But what I was going to say something about.
What do they represent?
So when I was going up through them, I was going to say something about, they're in the middle, and you don't. Some people will tell you, oh, your chakras are blocked. I'm not a big fan of that. I feel like they're either overactive or they're underactive. And by the way, I will tell you, we have a great certification class for chakra healing. It's online and it's good. And Laura Pace and I did it. And I would highly recommend taking it because it's not expensive. But so like your root chakra, just to go through them quickly, your root chakra is where you sit, and that's about stability and security. And that's the red one. Then when you go up your sacral chakra, which is like 2 finger widths below your belly button or your navel, that's that area. It's like your pleasure center. It is can be sexual, things like that, but also joy, creativity. And think about it, that can be overactive, or that can be underactive, or it can be balanced. And then you go up to your solar plexus. That's your I am. That's your self-confidence. That's your sense of worth. And then and this is like short. And then you go up to your heart chakra. There's lower and higher heart chakra, but it's basically love of self and others, and then love of the collective. And then your throat chakra is where you speak your truth, you listen. People forget that one. You listen, and where you feel heard. And then you go up to your third eye. That's where you discern. That's your intuition. But it's also discernment of the truth, so you can speak the truth. And then, did I skip one? I think I did. And then the crown chakra is your connection to source. Is that fast?
That's fast.
Woo! Okay. So,
There's
yeah.
another question. Speaking of vibration, do herbs have the same effect as crystals on your energy?
Yes.
Yep, definitely do.
Definitely, because I feel like that you're getting so each of those are going to be at a different vibration. They have different properties, and so now are they as fixed? I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that their internal structure always stays the same. I'm assuming it does. What makes up
If you think about it, they
components, but
could be
they're
different.
hybrids and stuff too, though,
Yeah.
and you don't get as much of that with crystals. I know it's an interesting. I just made an interesting point because I made an interesting point. That sounds bad. But crystals can actually form together too and change based on over time. So they're finding more and more minerals all the time. When I first started teaching, it was like 4,000, and now it's like up to almost 5,000. So, so it's interesting. But their internal structure stays the same. They're just more that they found. with herbs, I think you could
could-
alter their internal structure. So
could.
I don't know that they have the stability always that crystals would have.
Yeah, because you could have two different ones growing next to each other and they kind of merge together.
So as long as you know what you're working with, but but yes, you're working directly with the element of Mother Earth and things directly from connected to her. But I don't know that you would have that stability, but you still could entrain to them. But I think a lot of it for me is our olfactory, our sense of smell is our strongest sense for memory. So when you're working with herbs for like incense or burning the herbs, I think that's a lot of it's the vibration of connecting. That's just me personally. That's not the only thing it does, trust me. But it does trigger certain altered states or awakened states and things like that. Citrus wakes you up. Whereas, like, a mugwort may put you more in a psychic, a trance
For
state.
people who don't know what an herb is, like, how do you use herbs? If you've
Okay, Roger?
never used them before?
And y'all, Roger's allergies are really killing him. I can feel him. I can just
Yeah.
feel him sitting here.
And I've taken some medicine today. And it's just
So,
starting
do you
to
want to
wear
talk about
off.
herbs a little bit?
Yeah. So
Like, how do you use them? What do you use them for?
So herbs, well, you can do a lot of things with them. First of all, you can use them like how you burn sage. You could burn them. The smudging aspects of it, where you're lighting it.
And Roger
the
has a great
smoke's
video on
going
that, free on
Yeah.
YouTube. Great. I'm telling you, it's go to Michelle Soultopia, where we have this, and
you'll have to
look
scroll
at
way
way
back.
down, and we have a lot of crystal ones too, where I explain how crystal works. They're free. So
But you can definitely do that. You can also take and you could make mojo bags, grist bags, the little bags you carry with you. Put the herbs in there. You can mix it with crystals, even a little essential oils and different, talismans, things like that. That works. Bath water. I always tell people too, organza bags. The little organza bags like we have up here.
so it doesn't go down in your
Yeah, so it doesn't
drain.
go down in the drain.
You put them in candles.
Learn that the hard way?
Put them in
Yeah.
candles.
You put them in candles.
You can put herbs.
You can put it on candles around, if you're doing like chime candles or the 6-inch or
spells and
9-inch, you can do it on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great class on that. I mean, a lot
You
of
can
stuff we're talking
sprinkle.
about, we have classes on. I mean, just,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of the stuff's also just free on YouTube.
Yeah. You
But-
can also sprinkle it, like if you have an altar area set up, you could sprinkle it around in the altar.
Yeah.
You could put them like that.
You can drink, if they're food grade, you can put it in tea,
You can make
certain ones.
You can make teas out of
Gotta
certain ones.
check it, just like you check
Put
the
your-
toxicity of a crystal. If you put it in water, you would check an herb. I mean, you just have to use common sense, okay, people?
Put your fingers in yours so you don't hear this one.
Oh,
You can smoke some of them, but you got to really know what they are. Because there's actually some herbs that if you smoke, and I know people who do smoke some of those actually can damage your body. Michelle's disclaimer: they will damage your body if you smoke the wrong ones.
Don't smoke mugwort.
Yeah,
Okay,
don't
just
smoke
don't. It's gonna
mugwort
hurt your
for
liver,
sure.
and it's gonna hurt your kidneys.
Yeah.
But as long as, and we do have some food grade at Bishop Arts,
Mm-hmm.
food grade herbs. Not every place carries food grade herbs, but
Yeah. But we don't sell it as
we
being
don't
food
sell
grade.
it. We don't market it that way just because
We just market it as being
I'm a lawyer.
this is a nice herb.
Yeah, I mean, but we do have food grade herbs at
Yeah.
Bishop. Not all of them are, but a lot of them are. We get them from a very
Yeah.
good, and you do have to. I mean, like I check where you. I know where we get our stuff, all of our stuff from. So we can always tell you how you can use them and how you can't.
Yep.
Ask us.
Exactly.
Because we tell you don't. They're not food grade, but a lot of ours are at Bishop Arts.
Yeah.
We have a Carla, I believe she's new. She asked, what is a Soultopia bracelet? So how did y'all get started, and then what is the
Okay.
bracelet?
So Soultopia started as Soul Stones. We still have that. Many of you have on your little tags. These are the little tags that we've labeled with. They have an SS on it. That stood for Soul Stones.
Okay.
That is a business of ours. It was our jewelry, and all of our Soul Stones bracelets and jewelry and malas that we made, and we sold them we channeled them the way we said and put them together and made them. We make Roger makes beautiful mallas, very nice ones, and so they were originally called Soul Stones, and up until even like maybe 2 years ago when we decided to call our bracelets Soultopia bracelets. For those of you who have this SS, they're like vintage. So now it's ST for Soultopia, but we started it, honestly, it was to calm me down, and it was soothing. It was something we could do together. And I guess the biggest reason is because, honestly, I never, ever wore much jewelry at all. I never wore bracelets. I don't even have I got my nails done, so I don't even have my wedding ring on tonight. Sorry, I just didn't want to lose it. But I never wore bracelets because I couldn't get them done. I couldn't do the little latches on them. So I just never wore them. I never even got why people wore bracelets. And I have pretty tiny wrists. And so I was just like, I don't get it. Put a big old cuff or something on it. It looked horrible. Well, that's why we came up with the stretchy kind, because you can just pull these things on and off, and they rarely break. And I want to tell you something. Don't ever buy this thing that people tell you. Oh, your bracelet broke, so it's not serving its purpose anymore. That's BS. It broke because the string got weak. Okay? So if you collect your beads and bring them back into us, collect them all. If you don't, we're not going to restring it. But if you collect them, we'll restring them, and we've always done that. Because you can just pull these on and off. And believe me, I'll pull off like 10 at a time. I'd take your ring off first. But that is why we created the bracelets on the stretch. Because I wouldn't have worn them. And so it's a great way to wear crystals, and you're basically wearing a crystal grid on your arm. A crystal grid is where two or more crystals are gathered together. They synergistically come together and make an intention, right?
Correct.
So, even if you put two up in your windowsill, you're making a grid. That's a grid. Something that you put crystals together, and it changes what that original crystal would do. So you have a gridded arm. I've got 4 of Carrie's bracelets on each arm, and I don't always make them matchy-matchy. I go with what I feel I need or what I grab, and then I'll let the universe take care of what I need. But they're easy to put on. So that's it. I hope that answers the question. So it started that way, and we sold like at Cuyahoga Christmas. We sold a lot of here in Dallas.
A lot of boutiques around
A
here.
lot of boutique stores sold them. We sold the big events, like at big friends of mine that had like big houses in certain like areas of town. They would have events where they'd have vendors in like before Christmas, and we'd sell them there. And so we really did start. Soultopia really started as a bracelet.
Yep.
Our bracelets.
My bracelet.
So, and I think that's why they still do so well. And we're very, very particular about we don't just let them change. I was talking about the Archangel bracelets. We have Archangel bracelets. Those were original. We won an award for that. I don't know how many years ago, and they were featured in Insight magazine as a gift, best gifts for that year or whatever. And they're channeled for the major archangels, and they're still some of our most popular bracelets. I love them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we had one this year that won, or last year that won.
Oh, yeah. So our Soul Star Tarot won at INATS, International New Age Trade Show. The Star Tarot, we call them Soul Star, put soul in front of everything, that won an award too. And Roger Spray won an award too. That's another way to use herbs or essential oils and crystals all in one, is his sage spray. If you can't use smoke in your apartments or your car or something like that, his sage, everybody around here knows that it sells out constantly. We have to bug him to make it. And his Florida water is all natural. Most of that Florida water is not. It has denatured alcohol in it,
Causes cancer.
Which is what?
Causes cancer.
Has skull and crossbones on it if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's. You don't want that fancy Florida water. I'm going to tell you right now. You want his.
Let's take another question and do a giveaway.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're out of time.
Okay.
We're like way over.
And we can't even do a reading. I want to do a reading. Okay.
Oh, well, I asked for a reading.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So here we go. We started late.
So we have
Been
two
on for an
people
hour.
that we can just do a reading for.
Okay.
We have a Carla and we have a Ashley. Y'all each want to do one for each.
Okay.
This is a new Carla, so.
I am using, for new Carla, I'm using Tarot Black and Gold Edition. We just got these in by Los Scarbo. And they're I think a division of Llewellyn. But they are beautiful, you guys. I just want to show you this box.
Those are nice.
And this nice, Roger's going to love these. Look at this nice book. And then look how fabulous these cards look. Can y'all see them?
So
They're-
Ashley
they're
wants
gold.
general and Carla said from past loved one or future.
For a what?
From past loved one or future. Like a future reading or something from a past loved one.
Okay. Oh, somebody who's passed. Okay, so Carla, I'm going to go with a future reading, something, if you don't mind, because I will go on way too long if I do a mediumship, because I always have to get validation. That's one of my ethics things, is I have to make sure I'm connecting to who. I'm not just going to say I'm connecting to so-and-so and you have no proof of it. So it would take me too long. We can do that on another show. So a future for, and Roger, you might want to go first in the sense that these aren't shown.
Okay. Future.
So sorry,
For
and you're reading
Carla?
for Ashley. No,
Ashley?
you're reading for Ashley. And what does
Ashley General.
want?
Ashley General.
Sorry to confuse it, but I got to shuffle these more.
And I'm using Chiro's Oracle of Visions.
Chiro Marchetti, our
Chiro
friend.
McCready. I texted him the other day, see if he's going to go to New York or not.
He is going.
He is? Yeah. He's like, well, that day I texted him, I'm not sure. I'm like, well,
Well, he
you
is
need
going.
to go.
Of course he's going.
I know. He just didn't want to. Okay. All right, I have Ashley. Okay, Ashley.
I hope we can get Roger through this show. We're going to have to
know.
get him a healing.
So the thing about this card that I see, and I'm going to put it here so you can actually see. Can you see it right there? Okay, Ashley, this card here, what I see, and I'm not even sure which card it's supposed
Doesn't
to
matter.
be because it's an oracle card, but what I see in it is, if you notice, it's a snow globe. It has a horse inside the snow globe. I feel more like you're the representative of the horse, but I want you to look. It's not that you're trapped in the snow globe. You're actually busting out. You see the glass top coming off. It's, that horse is getting ready to escape and run. You can even see the top of the card up here. You see that horse on the top where it's virtually coming up and out of the snow globe. So that for you got some situations come that you're maybe feel like you're in, that you're going to start moving through and moving out of. How was that?
Great. Okay, you want to move your card? I'll put mine. I'm not
my
sure.
card.
Poor Roger, you guys. Send him healing. He's not feeling well. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this one, but these cards are so pretty. This is the Nine of Pentacles is what I drew for you, Carla. And what I'm going to tell you is that I think of this card, and I want to explain it, as kind of the independent woman card, okay? It's the kind of time when we're coming into our own, we're doing what I see for you, and I said we do more future. I see a time of you flourishing. So whatever you're setting your intention for, whatever prosperity is to you, okay? Prosperity is different things to different people. It's not always money, but it may be to you. I see you coming in a time of more independence with that prosperity in a good way. That doesn't mean, oh no, I don't have anybody else to rely on. It means you are going to flourish and grow. I see it like within the next 6 months, maybe 8, that it's just going to be a steady progress. Whatever that is that I feel like it is job or money related for you, but I just want to make it clear that that's not for everyone, because we don't want to always jump to that it's money means you're prosperous and abundant. I also feel it, and one more thing for you, Carla. I feel like, and I'm not a doctor, so, doctor of your choice, all that kind of thing, but I do feel that it's also an area where I feel that you need to start building up some stamina in some area physically in your life. I don't know if it's your breathing or if it's your stamina like, you need to walk and exercise. But I just feel like there's something where you're going to need a little more stamina. So you need to start working on that endurance physically. Okay? You want to talk about our giveaway? I'll talk about our giveaway. So our
Awesome.
giveaway tonight,
First of all, tell how they're going to win it.
You tell that.
Oh,
How are they
Lord.
going to win it? And then give me my phone.
So let's ask the question.
All right. So,
How did you
how about this? Michelle and Roger. Yes. How we started making the bracelets. What room in the house were we in? How about that? Room in the house.
Okay.
So what are we giving away today?
Now tell them what they're going to win, Vanna.
Okay. So shout out to Tony, who is from Munich, Germany. And she is, I could talk a long time about this, but Tony Poole, and I think it's pronounced that way. It's Puhle. I just know her by Tony. Met her at New York at the Reader Studio where Roger's going to speak this year. She is kind of the Kipper card lady. There's tarot cards, there's oracle cards, there are Lenormand cards that were more the UK. And then in Germany, there's a thing called the Kipper cards. And if you guys aren't into these yet, it's kind of the hot thing. And so Tony's kind of known as the Kipper card lady. And I'll just tell you briefly, since we're over, it's a fortune-telling system dating back to the 19th century. It's got 36 cards. And they have specific meanings, just like Lenormand, okay? So if I was just to open up to this 22's military person, and they give you all kinds of spreads in this book. 16 is his thoughts. 10 is journey. 7 is letter. And she tells you in here how to use it, you guys. So are we giving both these away?
Yeah,
You're
to one
getting a
person.
deck of the Card Geeks Kipper and Tony's book, The Card Geek's Guide to Kipper Cards. And you guys, this is a great giveaway. Whoever wins this, I want y'all to learn this and come on the show and tell us how you learned it. How about that?
That's a good idea.
And how you use the book, because this is a great system for
Got
divination.
anybody?
So we got Kelly said bedroom.
There you go.
It was right. It was in
Yeah.
our bedroom. Yeah.
So Kelly is the giveaway winner.
All right, Kelly.
So
Way to go.
Now
You're
you
paying
have
attention.
to come on the show and tell us how you learned to use the Kipper cards, because honestly, I think there will be kind of a wave of people. It hasn't. I think because I haven't explained it well enough to people here. But Tony is incredibly. She is. So now this is the Germany system of how they kind of read cards.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really cool, especially since I have so much family in Germany, right? I think we are done for tonight, and we went way over. If you guys are interested in these cards, you better come get them, because they are going fast, these gold ones that I read from. And of course, churros are always popular. So are we
He's
done
got that
for
new
tonight?
deck. I like it.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, he's got a new deck that's incredible. All right, so I think we're done for you tonight, you guys. You can
Yeah.
find us on any of the podcast platforms. You can find us at on Facebook at Soultopia Holistic Boutique. You can find us on YouTube at Michelle Soultopia on YouTube, right?
Yeah, Michelle
And
Soultopia.
then join also, if you would, our Intuitive Insights group on Facebook. I have to approve you to join that, but and come to our class on Thursday night. That's a great way to learn.
It's a lot of
I don't
fun.
have my sheet with all the places, but all the podcast platforms, and
Join us
share it.
anywhere.
And for you guys, please share this with other people. Lots of knowledge also on that YouTube channel.
Yep.
So join us then. Until next time.
So-
And on the 28th, we've got Chris Ann coming from Hay House.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Good night.
See ya.